Kevin isn't joining us today. He is not required by the script, and he is not at home at the moment, and I need to get this out of the way because I wanted to finish this game this weekend. It is time for the trial, the second trial day. Note it says day 3 because this is day 3 of the plot. We have been through 2 days of plot already. So, day 3, let's go. And once again, I have forgotten everybody's voices. It would be probably very funny if I managed to vary them ridiculously between episodes though. So, what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is as confused as we are. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time, and a different suspect was arrested at the other crime scene. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologise for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. So, how'd it go? It's as Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. I figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. A plea bargain? What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana! Don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about this as they are. Miss Skye. We discovered traces left by a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. You found Officer Marshall's traces? Blood-stained fingerprints, to be exact. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what this means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall? We have to play the cards we're dealt. Isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to do, Mr. Wright. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach criminal affairs from the prosecutor's office. The victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today, I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Very well, let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred at the police department. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? That was a voice and a half? Things are getting wild from the get-go. Oh god. Oh god, how were you voiced? How were you voiced? Not like that. Will the witness please state his name and occupation? Yes, sir! I I'm Officer Mike Meekins, sir. I'm probably somewhere around this vocal range, but I have no idea. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir!
So you're telling us you're a professional killer?
Sir, it was me, sir! I'm the one that did it! I'll never kill anyone again, sir! You've got to believe me, sir!
Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is...
Sir, I'm what you call part of the younger generation, sir! A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend!
Please, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, help me, sir!
Officer Makins! The bag just fell over in my room. Yes, sir? Give us your report of the crime. Consider that an order. Yes, sir! As you wish! After all, I'm part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir! You can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. Oh my god, I'm going through puberty, and I didn't think that was possible for me, but there we go. I spotted a suspicious man in the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life. Then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake.
So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you?
Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir.
I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness.
Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir.
Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
What I need here is more info to work with. Well, we know the tactic. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? Yes, sir. I'm in charge of hiring new recruits, sir. Yikes. Oh, there's a scary thought. Evidence transferal was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed. I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir.
The Blue Badger?
Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the head detective, sir. Tai-Ho-kun. That's his name, Tai-Ho-kun. It's cute. I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir. My vocal cords already.
I see. Sounds like a very important mission.
After the award ceremony finished that day, there were so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room.
Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room.
Tell us, what did you see when you got there? In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct? Precisely, sir! I have one right here around my neck! So then, your ID number should be listed in here, right? There it is! I found it! This is the one right here!
Could you please read us the number?
Yes, sir! It's 4989596! 4989596! That's the number! That's my number, sir! I see, huh? But the number 4989596 is shown as being used twice. Please explain, witness. It is no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room, and the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled down.
I see, so it was during the second time. When?
Yes, sir! That was when I spotted the man on the security screen. We've updated our ID records. That's pretty freaking awesome. Dun dun dun! Hmm? About what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious! Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke up the witness, it was about 5:30. He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain.
That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is.
When I came around, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir.
Your mission?
Yes, sir. The Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance before things got out of hand.
Well, we can all rest easy now.
This is what he was telling us yesterday.
Well, we need to try and skim some more details from him. For starters, what was an officer from the General Affairs Department doing in there in the first place? We just answered that.
Right, let's press him for all he's worth.
So we press this. We press this. I somehow ignored this, because I'm more worried about who woke him up. So, you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you?
It was a knife, sir! A knife!
Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you? What happened then?
Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was.
You aren't exactly the kind of person someone would want to run into.
That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my hand.
Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be...
When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar.
What exactly do you mean when you say you did it?
I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. The man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him.
You took his knife?
I spun him around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man.
I see. He must have been desperate.
The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood, and then the next thing I knew...
Yes?
He punched me right in my face, sir!
I believe we now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened. Yes, Your Honor. Only one thing remains unclear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? He's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins?
With regards to that, sir? Take a look at this. It was sent to my cell. Chief got delivered to me just this morning.
The Chief? Delivered it? What is that? A videotape?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir.
It is 2016 and we're still using videotapes. Actually, it's 2017 now and we're still using videotapes. This is a universe in which Betamax never died. And then videotapes is picked up afterwards and DVDs don't exist. Or it could be that this case is a period piece.
It contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room.
What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake.
I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at.
Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Show us the video of you murdering the victim.
Oh, please stop using that word, murder, sir. It scares me.
A video of a real murder. Just what are we getting ourselves into? It's time!
Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us?
What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood? Sir, that is the pride and joy of the entire Criminal Affairs Department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir.
Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room, and some sort of activity did take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incomplete footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that all right with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir. As you wish, sir. His face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprint to do so. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it.
What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker, equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know where this cross-examination will lead, but everything begins with contradictions. That's where I have to start. I have to press. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife?
Sir, if you must label people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I would be classified as the latter?
The latter? But you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you?
Oh, yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see.
Yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer.
Still, I'm sure it was him! I bet my badge on it!
Seriously, what was your voice last episode? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't this. But you don't know that for sure, do you? You never actually saw Detective Goodman's face.
Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people as having seen or not seen it.
Since his face cannot be identified in the video, only you can verify it.
Well, why is everybody looking at me? If I to label your stares as disturbing or...
Meekins! Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please, be more certain when you testify.
Yes, sir!
You claimed the man who brandished a knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him. About these lockers, is there no other way to open them?
No, sir! I myself tried all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints, sir.
I wonder what kind of methods he's tried. If the man opened the locker's lock, which only responds to its registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to.
Exactly my point, sir! And this too!
How do you know that information?
I've heard rumors, sir, from people in the know, sir.
People in the know?
The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir.
For the record, the opened locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information from a more reliable source. So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprint.
So it must be him! No one else could have unlocked it!
However, the most important detail is not shown in this video, the man's face.
So, sir! If I may say something, sir.
Please do. After all, you are the one being examined.
I don't understand why the man's face is so important to this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock. And it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir.
Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it.
Mr. Wright, let's check the court record again.
Is there a problem with the security video? Here's the tape. You can play the entire tape. Look at this shit. Okay,
What the hell is this wriggling piece of plywood?
There he goes. There he goes. He stays there when the flags come down. Watch the choreography. That's a bit specific. Regarding the video contained on this tape, there is one thing in particular that seems rather strange. Strange? This contradiction leads to the possibility that the man may not be Detective Goodman. What? This video contains such a contradiction? Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I propose we have the defense point out to us this alleged contradiction in the video. There's also... This locker's got a light over the top of it. He would want me to point it out. Very well, proposal accepted. Let's further inspect this piece of evidence. Hold on. There we go. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us this contradiction you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video? This is the first time I've ever had to do that.
You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can fast forward, rewind, or pause the video. Just take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing. Please don't play too many times. I can't stand watching this video.
How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction that indicates the man may not be Detective Goodman? The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins.
Sir! Do you mean me, sir?
As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, a sensor reads your fingerprint, and if the print matches the registered data, the light turns on and the lock is released.
According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir.
If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the locker, let's rewind a little earlier. Yep, we just threw it go backwards. We can just play it forward and back all we want. Here! Notice the light? What's this? It's already lit! Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed the handle. Ah! Order, order! What's the meaning of this? It's very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime. But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When a door is shut, a sensor is triggered, and the locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know, it must have been broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, Your Honor. The sensor would detect and report any malfunction. Oh well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes, why wasn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, this isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jammed the electronic system. Something jammed the sensor? Say, there's something else that seems out of place in this video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's gotta be another clue somewhere in this footage. Very well, let's inspect the video once more. The locker wasn't locked. Mr. Wright, please point out the cause for this. Is it visible? It isn't. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. What's this? Something white fell out of the locker.
But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors are opened. I often fall out and roll great distances when I open my car door, sir.
We can't be sure that item was in the locker to begin with. What do you mean? The sensor triggers the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? This white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor.
Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times it gets stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me.
But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit in the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. Yes, an insulator, but at the crime scene, there just might have been something that fits the description.
But sir, by insulator, you don't mean...
I think I finally got this figured out. Very well, will the defense please present the relevant evidence? What was inside this insulator that was... What's this insulator that was stuck inside the locker door? Blah 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 blah. I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that was in the victim's locker. It has a tag that says SL9 incident. The video seems to depict the victim opening the locker, but that isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to this.
On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is this not so, Officer Meekins? Sir! It would appear so, sir! Order, order, order! So are we to believe then that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman? Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated that possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this. Sir! Me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well. Begin your testimony. There's one other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, although it doesn't really make much of a difference. Tish! There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Right, I see. Now let us move on to the examination. The cross-examination, if you will. And that's how to tell the lag between me talking and the actual audio in the game. So, unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid, do you? Yes, sir! Solid as a stone, sir! If my hand wasn't wrapped in bandages, I'd even give the V for victory sign, sir! Couldn't he just use his right hand for that? Let's hear him out. The witness cannot afford to make any more mistakes. Is that card hanging from your neck one of these ID cards? Yes, sir! This card right next to my cuff, sir! I keep it here so I won't ever forget it. But what if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that? Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck in my car door when I get out? Well, the remaining time my ID card gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID card chokes me. Maybe I should just leave this one alone. At any rate, though each police officer has only one ID card. Both the police department and the prosecutor's office can attest to this. Please proceed with your testimony. I'd rather critique this line. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show you his ID card, he pulled a knife on you. Yes, sir! He didn't show me any ID card, sir! Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't be any reason to draw a knife. Maybe he just panicked.
Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out.
Mr. Wright, what do you think?
I'm confused.
What?
The problem with this ID card testimony is far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like this.
You're thinking too hard about it. Come on, let's just show them what we got.
Worried? I have saved the state. Wait one moment, Officer Meekins.
I'm not good at waiting, sir!
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue regarding the victim's ID card. Lost item report? It's only half completed. But it shows that Detective Goodman had lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to fill out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right? I can't say for sure, but there's a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order, order! So now, what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Order, order, order! Does the prosecution have a response? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo? Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 on the day of the crime, the man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. Am I correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yes. What's he up to? That being the case, we must inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in this video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instance of the murder. That is... well, I guess that's right. Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed content to be pointing your finger around. This isn't good. Well, well, it seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Mr. Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means a murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15 on the day of the crime. So the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. A trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Ah! I knew that testimony was way too shabby. It was all a trap from the beginning. The activity in the evidence room still leaves many questions unanswered. Who exactly was the victim that Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, This trial's purpose is to examine only the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, you really have to do something, or else Lana...
What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess?
One moment, Your Honor.
What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven.
Of course not, but I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap.
What are you talking about?
This cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not show the actual murder. However, it cannot be said that it's unrelated to the murder in the parking lot. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. I'm flubbing my lines. It's ridiculous.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor?
If this court were to examine this further, other witnesses would be necessary. Is the prosecution prepared?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witnesses for this incident. And this just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand.
Mr. Wright,
do you mean... Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness.
Who? Whom do you have in mind?
Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room.
The prosecution
requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply.
Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you'd have testify... What is his or her name?
Officer Jake Marshall.
Why him?
I can't let him know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during that time?
We will, Your Honor.
Court in recess.